Welcome to the Progressive Action TV show. Thanks for joining us. You guys need to share out this show. The show is going to be very important. We're going to talk about Local 100 PPP loan. I just came across the information, I believe, yesterday, and it gave some details as to our union taking out a PPP loan. And we want to know why they took out a PPP loan. Now, once again, if you want to donate to the show, the Cash App is Progressive Action 100. I will be trying to get a few people opinions on this. I got the Zoom lines open. In order to be on Zoom, you must have your video available. If you don't have no video, I'm not going to allow you to talk. What else is going on? So the Zoom link is actually, I ain't putting in the link of the video because it was too long, but it's on the Progressive Action Facebook group page. So you can look there if you want to get on the show to make your voice heard, to let them know how you feel about this PPP loan. I'm quite sure we will be doing another show on it. You know, I just came out of nowhere. I wanted to do it while it's still fresh, while it's still hot. But yeah, they got some questions to answer. So for those who's out of the loop, the union took out a PPP loan for $2.8 million. They claim that they retained 398 jobs. And, you know, that's pretty surprising because the union have 398 employees, but we could never. It's hard to find a union worker here, and let's be real. There's not 398 employees that could fit either on the 9th floor or the 3rd floor of the union hall. So where did 398 employees come from? Now let's just say that they did have 398 employees. Okay, let's say it's true. Where are they? Are they ghost employees? Are people, family and friends being paid to stay home allegedly? I don't know. But we don't have 398 employees. And if we do, the work that needs to be put in do not reflect how many employees it really is. 398 employees, that's kind of insane. That's kind of insane. So even if that number was true, 398 employees is too many employees. And that needs to be done. That something needs to be done about that alone. But I believe, and this is just my opinion, that it's fraudulent. I believe that it's not true. The union do not have 398 employees. I believe they fluffed up that number to get the loan. Now, a question that I would like to know myself is, why did the union need a loan? What was the importance of the loan? Was it just a free money grab because they felt that they can? Is the union in dire need of money? Are we in the red? Though he's in the black. Are we in the red as a union? Is the union going bankrupt? Are they squandering off the money? Right? Because there's a lot of things that go into place before a union could go for a loan. One of them is the financial secretary treasurer, which is Earl Phillips, is to address this matter with the E-Board. Now, as far as I understand, Earl Phillips never addressed this to the E-Board. The E-Board had no clue that the union was going for a PPP loan in an amount of $2.8 million. Now, for those who don't know what the financial secretary treasurer does, I'm going to read this from the bylaws. And you guys can see it along on the screen with me. The financial secretary treasurer shall receive all money paid into the local union and give official receipts for all monies received from a triplicate receipt book supplied by the International Union. I'm gonna say he because Earl is a guy. Shall deliver the original receipt to the payer a triplicate thereof to the international secretary treasurer, and retain a duplicate in the files of the local union. He shall make such detailed financial reports as the executive board shall from time to time require. He shall keep regular books and records of the local finances and shall submit same for inspection and audit at the end of each quarter. He shall deposit all monies received in the name and number of the local union in such bank or banks as the executive board may direct. He shall sign all checks. He shall report quarterly to the executive board the monies received and paid out and the balance remaining on deposit, and shall deliver to his successor all monies and other property of the local union. On demand of the international secretary treasurer, he shall deliver all books and records, examination and audit. He shall keep, let me go to the next page for you guys. He shall keep and supply to the international secretary treasurer a correct record of the full names and addresses of all members and promptly notify the international secretary treasurer of the names and addresses of all suspended or expelled members. Before entering upon his or her duties, the financial secretary treasurer shall deliver a bond and required by the international union and an amount to be determined by the international secretary treasurer, but not less than 500,000. The premium on said bond to be paid out of the funds of the local union. He shall be the custodian seal of the local union. Now, as you can see in that description, the financial secretary treasurer is accountable for all the money that comes into the union and goes out to the union. And he's supposed to supply detailed reports to the executive board basically whenever they ask. Why wasn't the union forthcoming with this information? Why weren't they forthcoming that they were going for a PPP loan, which possibly you may have to pay back? Now, to be honest, if we didn't find this information out, we wouldn't have never known this. And also, the importance of that is how much other stuff is the union leadership doing underhand and keeping away from the members? This is alarming. This is malfeasance at the least. This is corruption at the least. Why didn't the union make it known, at least to the executive board, that they were going for a PPP loan? Once again, if we wouldn't have never came across this information, I wouldn't be able to report it to you guys. How much information is the union keeping secret away from the members that we don't know about? What other information do they got that we don't know about? Now, another part of this this whole loan scandal, and I would just put it on the screen, is that on a PPP application, Transport Workers Union Local 100 reported intending to use the proceeds of their PPP loan for the following expenses. All of the money is basically, and you see I got it squared away on the screen. All of the money will be going to payroll except $1. Now, in order to be excused of this loan, the money has to go to payroll. So that's why they put it like that. Now, this is the issue that I have, right? Now we go talk specifics. We go talk the payroll specifically. And I'm gonna show you guys the LM2. For those who don't know, the LM2 is a financial report that the union have to report every year, and it shows how they spend the money, how much officers get paid, and exactly who's on payroll. If you look at the LM2s, I'm gonna be honest with you, I did not count, but there is not even over probably 200 employees on the payroll, and that includes the union officers. Now, once again, the union spending almost the whole entire amount on payroll. Did they give themselves a hazard pay raise? Something to think about. Did the union lose money between 2020 and 2021, did they lose money during the pandemic? Did people lose their jobs? No, nobody lost their jobs. The union didn't lose money. Members were still paying dues. So why would our union need a PPP loan? And they said it themselves that they would use the $2.8 million mostly for payroll. So why would you, or how could you use it for payroll when the payroll didn't take a hit? Specifically speaking, a $2.8 million hit. Now I'm going to show you guys, I'm going to bring some information on the screen. This is from the 2020 LM2. And as you can see right there, it says that I got the arrow pointing to $1.5 million, basically. And that is the top union officers salary for the year. That's how much they get paid all together. We're talking about the president and all the VPs and the top four, right? And those consisted at the time of 2020, 13 people, because Joe Costales was still on payroll before Eric won. Well, I don't even know why he's even on there twice, but normally it's 12, but for 2020 it was 13. As you can see, it's $1.5 million basically. And that's for, like I said, that's for the top officers, the top four, and the VPs. For 2020, that same year, this is for all the officers, this is for division chairs and employees that's on the payroll. The union spent $9.4 million, right? $9.4 million is the total salary for everyone else up under VP and all the other employees. We talking about the employees who are not transit workers. We talking about people who works in 130 Livingston and 195 Montague Street on the 3rd and 9th floor, the regular people. So as you can see, that total comes out to $9.4 million. So when you add the $9.4 million from all the other officers and employees, and the 1.5 from the top four officers and the vice presidents, you get a total of $11,061,091, right? Now remember, this 2020. Oh, I want to make something clear to you guys too. The 2020 LM2s represent not 2020 itself, but 2019. The 2021 LM2s don't represent 2021 specifically. It represents everything that happens in 2020. So when I say 2020, I mean 2019. When I say 2021, I mean 2020. 2021 actually covers the period from January 1st, 2020 to December 30th, 2020, and the report come out in 2021. So I just want to make that clear. So the 2020 LM2s, that, like I said, that total is $11,061,091. Now we go look at the 2021 LM2s. In the 2021 LM2s, the top officers, they got $1.6 million. So that number increased by almost $100,000 between the 2020 LM2 and the 2021 LM2. So the top officers in our union, and once again, that includes the president, the top four, and the vice presidents, they actually got a raise. And the total raise for all of them was over, combining all the salaries together, was close to $100,000. Like I said, it's $1.6 million. Now, for all the officers in 2021 LM2, that number came out to $9.3 million. That number dropped almost $100,000. So the top officers made close a plus of $100,000 between the two LM2s, and the other officers and employees lost over $100,000. So it almost basically balances out. So the total between the top officers and the 2021 LM2 and the everyone else, the employees and all the other officers in the 2021 LM2 is $10.9 million. That's $10.9 million. So the difference between the 2 years, so between 2020 and 2021, there was a difference only of, and I subtracted the $11,061,091 from the $10,988,254. I subtracted the two, and there was a negative of $72,837, right? Between the two LM2s, between all the salaries altogether. It was only a difference of $72,837, right? Now, even if they took that loss, right? That is a loss. It's a negative. I won't even say it's a loss. We could just say that they spent less money. They smartened up on their money. Maybe people retired and they didn't replace those officers. We don't know what happened. But it's only a difference of basically, let's just say for argument's sake, $73,000. How can $73,000 justify $2.8 million? How does that even make sense? That makes absolutely no sense at all. None whatsoever. None whatsoever. So how is the union going to spend the $2.8 million on the payroll? And you got to remember, the members do not benefit from this PPP loan, because the union cannot say we're going to use this money to bring programs or add it to programs. No, they must use this money for payroll. So someone explain to me, please explain to me, how is the union officers getting a raise on top of a raise? And let's not forget, they get a raise on top of our contractual raise. So when we get a percentage raise, they get a raise. They gave themselves a bonus with this PPP loan. Once again, this PPP loan is going to be used for payroll. Every dollar except $1, which will be used for a utility. None of the utilities up there cost $1, right? None of it does. But they're going to be using it for payroll. Now I want to keep this in mind to you guys. When you're a labor union, you do not pay federal or state taxes. Every piece of money that the union get is theirs. Everything they get is theirs. They do not pay federal or state taxes. Once again, why do they need a PPP loan? Now, there was certain criteria. I'm not saying that it's illegal what they did, right? Not saying that yet, because a lot of labor unions did get PPP loans. Coincidentally, Local 100 was one of the unions that got the largest amount. There's not 398 employees according to the LM2. And they didn't take a loss, $1 million loss. They took a 73,000. Like I said, I can't even call it a loss. But there's a difference between the 2020 LM2 and the 2021 LM2 of only $73,000, and that could be because some officers retired. It could be because they had just probably like one less person on payroll, because $73,000 is almost like the average amount every employee makes in Local 100, around that amount, like $70-something thousand. So it could be someone retired. $73,000 is not a lot of money, right? When you're talking about 398 employees, right? So what did the union do? Is not, I'm not saying that what they did was illegal, because labor unions did get PPP loans. But what I'm saying is that the 398 employees that they saying they got, with a difference of $73,000 between the 2020 LM2 and the 21 LM2, it seems highly strange, and that the most of the money from the PPP loan have to go towards payroll. That seems highly strange to me, and that's what needs to be looked into. Now let me see if anyone. All right, nobody's on the Zoom. I'll give you guys a couple of more minutes. If you want to get in on the Zoom. Like I said, the Zoom link is in the Progressive Action um Facebook group. If you want to chime in and talk about this PPP stuff. I mean, and they did some unethical things. Whether what they did was fraudulent or not, they did unethical things. They didn't discuss this with the governing body of the union, which is the executive board. According to a few executive board members, they had no clue that the union was asking for a PPP loan. I just don't. I don't get it. I seriously don't get it. I mean, it just doesn't make no sense. And all of this is, I'm not alleging them of anything. I just find it very well, everything I said right now is alleged. I'm not saying that they did something illegal, but definitely they did something unethical by not discussing this with the executive board. Like I said, according to the LM2s, there's not 398 employees. And if they are, where are they? Who are they? I think at the next executive board meeting, the executive board need to get a list of every employee that works for the union. We need to know what they do and how much they get paid, because it's not in the LM2s. It's not in the LM2s. And I just don't get it. I just don't get it. What I personally think is that the union is using that PPP loan money to give themselves a hazard pay raise, right? The e-board needs to request how that PPP loan money will be distributed. What's the criteria of how that money will be dispersed? Will it be given to officers? And we talking about officers who basically hid out during the heat of the pandemic. When we were getting sick left and right, the officers was home. Right? What was the reason? What's the secret of obtaining this loan? Like I said, if we wouldn't have stumbled across this information, we wouldn't have never had this information to share to you guys. How much other information is the union not sharing with the members that we don't know about? I consider this underhanded. I consider it deceitful. And they are not to be trusted. They are not to be trusted. And we cannot trust them at all. I just listen, like I told you, this Progressive Action show right here is based off of facts, receipts, and invoices. We don't sit here and talk without putting stuff on the screen, without showing you guys, what's going on and things of that nature. I just put up the PPP loan report from TWU Local 100. I put up the LM2s from 20 that show what happened in 2019 and 2020, because that's how you qualify for the PPP loan. You have to show a difference between 2019 and 2020 in your payroll or whatever the case is. And it can't get no more clearer than that. I read off the bylaw description of the financial secretary treasurer, and all the information is here. Now it's time for them to start providing answers. We have questions. Why did you get a PPP loan? Who is the 398 employees? What do they do? How much do they make? Why wasn't this discussed with the e-board? And I could tell you that even if it was discussed with the e-board, most of the e-board is paid off. Most of the e-board have release time. And in order for them to keep their release time, They must go along to get along. This is the go along to get along gang. This is who they are. G. Go along, get along gang. That's who they are. The e-board is supposed to have the best interest of the members, not the best interest of the president, not the best interest of the financial secretary treasurer, not the best interest of their vice presidents. But this is what happens. This is what happens. This is how you pay people off. What's understood don't need to be said. Someone don't have to blatantly say that if you don't agree with me, your release time is gone. What's understood don't need to be said. Why everything have to be spelled out for you guys to think that it exists? Everything don't have to be spelled out. But if it needs to be spelled out, I just spelled it out for you on this show. I just spelled it out for you. Everything don't needs to be spelled out. I mean, come on. This is beyond ridiculous. And like I said, was this a free money grab for the union? They didn't have to take this. Our economy is reeling, and you got people doing money grabs for something that they don't need. The union did not need that $2.8 million for payroll. Now, yeah, if it was to help with childcare, if it was to help with more college grants, if it was to help with facilities on the property or whatever the case is, to help out with whatever it can, but the union did not need a $2.8 million PPP loan for salaries. I'm sorry. They did not need it for salaries. That's straight BS. That's straight BS. I really wish somebody call in on a Zoom, but I think that I will probably have to do another one of these shows because I do want to hear what the people have to say, because I feel it's very important. And you know how I like to tell them. You see it. You see it. And that's what it is. That's what it is. I mean, I don't know how much of this BS that we could take in this underhandedness and this shystiness and this deceitful tricknology. I'm telling you, these are the tricknology masters. If you want a magician for your child party, you could just go to 195 Montague Street on the 9th floor and close your eyes and pick. You could literally go up there and do that. You could literally go up there and do that. But what I tell you guys, this is very important that you guys share out this show specifically. Share out this show. Listen, there's people watching on YouTube right now. The likes need to be up. The likes need to be up. There's 18 people watching on YouTube right now. I need 18 likes. Hit that like button. You guys need to share this out. I don't. This is valuable information. Every member needs to see this and watch this and understand what's going on. Every member needs to see it. It doesn't get much clearer than this. Doesn't get much clearer than this. And like I said, if you guys need any information regarding this, you always feel free to hit me up. But I try to put everything here so I can answer you guys' questions. So once again, the union took out a PPP loan for $2.8 million for 300. Let me make sure. 398 employees. They just got that loan on May 11th, 2021. And they said it's for 398 employees. They have to use it for payroll. What are they using it for payroll for? It's just mind-boggling. It's very mind-boggling. I dropped a lot of Jews in this video. I dropped a lot of Jews in this video. You guys need to go back and watch it, especially when I broke down the LM2s. You guys need to go back and watch it. Other news, real quick. We having an MTA riders and workers assault march. This is for everyone. This is for MTA workers. We don't care if you support progressive action or not. It's about the message. And this is for the riding public. We need to unite. We need to make allies with the riding public. You know, 95% of the riding public is not our enemy. You know, there's a bad 5% out there, I believe, and it needs to be dealt with, and it's not being dealt with properly. So we're having an assault march at City Hall Park Friday, August 6th at 9 a.m. If you're interested in getting involved and wanting to know how to get involved, please contact anyone of the Progressive Action, my Progressive Action teammates, Canella, Nuke, Jocelyn, Denise, Alexander Kemp, Roberto, Willie Colon, Ben Valdez, Jason Norris. I hope I ain't forget anyone. But you could contact anyone on the Progressive Action frontline team, and we'll give you information on the assault march. But this is important too, that we must do that. Oh, I got a caller on. Let me get him in. Let me get the caller on. He's joining, and it's actually my brother Kemp. Hold on, Kemp. I'm setting it up right now. Setting it up for you right now, brother Kemp.
What's going on, my brother?
Hold on one second. Getting you there right now. Yeah, say what's up, bro.
What up? What up? What up?
All right, yeah, the people hear you. And let me get you squared away on the screen the proper way. Yeah, what's your thoughts on this whole PPP loan thing, man?
Oh man, if not for progressive action, where would everybody be? You'd still be blind, deaf, dumb, and blind. Progressive action, bringing you real-time, exclusive, pertinent information that no one else, that the union would lie and cheat and steal from you every single day, if not for progressive action exposing them at every corner that they intend to lie and deceive the membership. And I think that's the part that was always overlooked with progressive action, that truly is a beacon of hope in our union. But the amount of criminality that is attached to that. But let's start with, forget the criminal aspect. Let's surround it by what it entails. If our union, key component word, our union, makes a decision to borrow money from the federal government in the sum of $2.8 million, based on a need that our leadership, so let's separate the two, not the union, our leadership determined that they were taking a loan. It wasn't the members, because the members didn't know we were taking a loan, right? Local 100 took a loan. We are all a governing, functioning member body of Local 100. None of us were made aware that we, the members, we, the union, we, Local 100, were taking part in a PPP loan. They're going to try to suggest that they had a right to take the loan, that the money was available, so they took it because they were giving away free money. In essence, that is their response to this, because I see they put something on the Union Truth Squad basically saying, look, the government was giving away free money. We took it. You would be a fool not to take free money. That's true. But you would also be a criminal if you took money you didn't need, right? I need free money. That's the equivalent of going and filing for food stamps when you make over $100,000 a year.
Well, let me ask you this: don't they consider fraud as people wanting to go get free money? People do bank scams every day.
Without question, no. There's people in jail for a very long time for that. And remember, this is federal, right? Remember that it's not about the money; it's about the reason why you asked for the money. What is your justification for needing the money? You are saying you took the money or you took a loan to cover your staff, but you didn't have a reduction of union fees or union dues from any of the members. You can say you lost some people in the private lines. How many people were that? 300 people? 400 people? You were still getting the $30 every paycheck from all of your members. Now let's really get into depth why your leadership are criminals and disingenuous. Let's just say we agreed that, hey, guess what? You took the money. So guess what? We should all benefit from the money. But yet our leaders want to then say they're going to ostracize, they're going to marginalize, they're going to kick people out of an election, they're going to remove people from an election roll because during the pandemic, the same pandemic they took a loan for, the same pandemic they took a government bailout to cover their losses, they extend none of that to their members. At no point did they say, hey, guys, you know what? We got $3 million from the federal government, free money. What we're going to do is we're going to absolve any member who was out during the time of COVID in 2020, who was late back dues because they were out sick, because of the nature. We have $3 million that can help bring everyone whole on their past due union dues, because we're all a union leadership. We're all part of the same body. So if we benefit, you benefit. No, that's not what they do. They take the money, they keep the money, and then they come to us and say, guess what? You owed us $12, you're not eligible. You owed us $47, you're in bad standing. You were out with COVID and almost died and spent 4 months home surviving, striving for your life. You're an essential worker. We're going to walk down a parade and clap for your sacrifice. But we're going to take $3 million, put it in our pocket, and not give you the $27 that you might have missed from one paycheck in the middle of a pandemic.
Facts.
What?
Facts.
What? So whoever's listening, watching, hearing, whoever is aware, $3 million is an enormous amount of money to not have nothing to do with. Let's keep in mind, their staff that they allude to, all of those people already have a job. Most of the people who are released by the union are not people who are not employed by the transit authority. Most of them, mostly all of the union staff, has a title already. So those people are already getting paid, be it from the transit authority or from their title, one way or another. And then the other portions who are released, that gets supplemented by the transit authority. So where is that $3 million going? And again, if you found the luxury to take free money from the federal government and not share it amongst your members, then it is the greatest injustice in history to consider that any member who owed any union dues from the same time you took that loan is not made whole. That every member who owed a union dollar in the year of the pandemic is considered in good standing. There can no one be considered in bad standing when the union took a $3 million loan without running it past the executive board, without letting the members know what their intentions were, and without justifying how the members could benefit from that same money.
Let me ask you this.
Absolutely not.
Let me ask you this. Do you believe in the 398 employee number?
Absolutely not. I believe it's probably around 100 and something. I'm sure if Letitia James did the proper investigations, the ones that they use to find all these people stealing money at Wall Street and finding Donald Trump's hidden bank accounts, that they would 100% find that our leadership are no better than the petty thieves they call people stealing loans throughout the country, applying for PPP loans that have no relevancy. People who said they had $200,000 corporations and these people were barbers or so on and so forth.
You want to know something? You said something. You had said something that brought something to my attention. Now, Samuelson has been going at Cuomo lightly, right? But he has been going at Cuomo lightly and standing behind Tish James, right? So. Right. He knows that the governor can't order an investigation unless him and Tish James is on the same page. So Samuelson is figuring that if him and Tish James is good, she'll look the other way during an investigation. Because it's mighty funny that he's now supporting her and not supporting Cuomo.
Right.
Especially on posts that's saying that she will be the next governor of New York.
Right. So, 100%.
So
politics at its finest. Politics at its finest.
Facts. So yeah, go ahead.
No. We at this juncture, this is not this is not like, I think the members really, this is the one. This is the one, because you can't justify that. Consider this to all the members who are listening, and if you're listening and watching this, please share it. Because it's Saturday. Is it Saturday? Who knows? Well, it's Saturday somewhere. But nonetheless, if you're watching this, you share this out as often and as broad as possible, because what happens is these things go on in the dark, and they never really reach the light that they deserve to actually challenge them and force them to stand on their actions. The reality is this: there were members. Let's start with the two key components, and let's just be very clear. All of us are COVID survivors. It's not the complexity of who was sicker and who wasn't sicker. Everyone who worked at the New York City Transit Authority, the MTA, was 100% a survivor of COVID. Just because you get dropped out of a plane in Afghanistan and you don't get shot, you are still a war hero. You don't have to necessarily catch a bullet. You were there. You were in action. You were active duty. Okay? So the same label gets attached to you. So when they call you essential, when they call you the whatever, they just had a parade for an essential workers. Real heroes opted out. We weren't present because we're the real heroes. The losers were standing there, pandering to everybody. Consider this: you got no hazard pay for being on the front lines. You know, when people go to war and they're in action in the military, they get something called war pay. They get extra money for being at war. Some guys want to go to war so that they can get that extra money and get that active duty boost in their pay. You got no essential money. You got no hazard pay. They cut you off from getting FSLA or FMLA for childcare. They did it. The government and the union did not fight for you to keep it. They put in a fake, bogus arbitration ruling that said that they were absolved from it. The only way you absolve from it is by being reclassified. And the union didn't even fight about you being reclassified, because Governor Cuomo reclassified you to absolve you from being eligible for that same benefit. Facts. So let's start with that. Let's start with the fact that you got no hazard pay. Secondly, they removed you from getting a child care benefit while they forced you to come to work in the pandemic. Thirdly, a lot of members made too much money to even get the stimulus package because of your gross, you or your family size or whatever it was. Even if you were working in the pandemic, you weren't even eligible for a full stimulus benefit from the government, because you might have made over $80,000 as an individual, or over 150 if you and your wife both work at transit, or you both have jobs that pay over 80 grand. You didn't get any benefit. No food stamps, no stimulus, no bailout, no hazard pay, no nothing. But they get $3 million?
Yeah, I mean,
for free? For free? And then you might have been out sick for a month, and you might have missed $12 from a paycheck from your union dues, and they'll send you a letter or tell you you're a bad standing member? Yeah. They will tell you that you were in bad standing when they collected a free $3 million from your tax dollars plus your union dues, but still not make you whole? Still not find a way to resolve your issue?
Yeah.
And that's who represents us? That's who governs our standing? That's where we give our trust to?
Facts. And to your argument, I just put on the screen a tweet from John Samuelson, and he actually retweeted something that Cuomo put up, and I'm gonna read it. It says, "Today, New York announced a $4.5 billion settlement with the Purdue Pharma for its role in the opioid epidemic. Countless New Yorkers have suffered as a result of the companies putting profit over health." So Samuelson actually responded to Cuomo and said, "Tish James is responsible for this victory, not Cuomo. Tish is a real deal Democrat, not a liar, not a bully, just a humble advocate pursuing public good, never looking to steal others' thunder. She is the voice and power protecting average, everyday working people." Now, that's mighty strange. He's coddling up to the one person that could actually investigate this union.
Bro, that is sickening. And add to this, let's say the union got this $2.8 million of non-payable back, what is it? Whatever. I'm sorry, I'm losing my point. Yeah. So I jumped on this live today. I was like in another place. I was on top of a ladder. You see my collar stretched. That was crazy. But nonetheless, this is hugely highly important. But let's consider the fact that our union took a PPP loan from the government for $3 million, because we're going to round it up to $3 million. And not one time did our union buy PPE for its members. Our union did not provide masks and said we are waiting for transit to provide that. Our union could not take any of that money and guarantee that the members would have masks, would have sanitizer, would have wipes, would have clean work environments. They put the onus back on transit. That's what they did. So you had $3 million and you couldn't take $100 grand.
No. They didn't have the three. They just got that $3 million on May 11th of this year.
Oh, that was this year. Yeah, so we don't even know if they took one last year, because remember, you were able to get two.
I think that they only took one, because I think that labor unions this year got cleared to take PPP loans.
Got you.
But the argument is, I mean, it don't take away from your argument.
No, it's just disingenuous.
This union generates $30 million a year from its members.
Right.
You're trying to tell me you couldn't take 500,000?
Right.
And buy PPE for us. So
according to Paulie, Utano had a garage full of masks, right? It wasn't about actually having the mask. It was more about who they thought deserved to have one.
Yeah, I mean, and who's to say they even gave them out? Who's to say that they didn't give it to their family and friends?
I'm positive they did.
Yeah, I mean,
in the same way they took that $3 million PPP loan and distributed that amongst themselves. Yeah, and still left members who owed $12, $15, $20, $30, $45 in union dues and told them that they were in bad standing.
The most, and then who's to say that they won't use this money for payroll, to put extra people on payroll, to actually put an extra 100 people on payroll to help them with the election this year?
Without question, they created a slush fund. Without question.
But at the least, let's just say that they did everything right, like nothing fraudulent obtaining a loan.
Right.
They was underhanded by not telling at least the executive board that they was filling out for a loan and why they needed the loan. At the least, they wrong for that.
At the least, they're wrong because that money belongs to the members.
No, that money belongs. Right. That money belongs also to our government.
Correct.
Correct. Like you're taking money from the government.
There were people who
money that you don't need.
Right. There's a business that went out of business. There's a company. There's someone who lost their whole legacy because the funds were absolved by many of the big companies and the big corporations taking the top end off of all of those funds that were allotted. I know people who applied for PPP loans who really needed it, and by the time they applied, they told them that the funds had been exhausted. So again, at least at the most minimal, if they did everything right and legal and everything is stand up and square, how do you then have any member who didn't receive hazard pay, who didn't receive a stimulus, who worked through the pandemic, how do they still get held accountable for owing union dues based on being sick, based on being comp? And again, it's not a question of whether you owe the money. The real question is, how does your union delegate you or assign you to a class of someone in bad standing? That in itself that term can no longer carry any weight moving forward, or have any standing or basis relative to anyone who owed any money throughout the pandemic. If you picked up a bill and owed it to the union because a dues checkoff, which you have no responsibility for, which the union doesn't even cover, you have no right to pay the right amount or the least amount or a lesser amount. It is a dues checkoff. It automatically comes out. So if for some reason $6 or $7 or $12 were not taken in error, that does not make a member bad standing. That is a clerical issue. And when remedied, that financial portion of your union dues are rectified. But you as a member have always been in good standing and has been continuously in good standing because you haven't opted out. You haven't signed any letters that said you want to not pay dues. You haven't done anything relative to a strike or to a job action or to a union stand down to show that you had a willingness to not pay. So as long as you were front and center at work when physically, mentally, emotionally able to, and you showed up to work, and you supported your union, and you paid union dues or didn't contest your union dues, you without question are a member in good standing.
I mean, the Constitution spells it out, right?
Right.
And the Constitution was there, like that's to protect members. But it seemed like Local 100 want to create more of a hardship for political opponents more than what the MTA want to.
Correct. They want to create more hardships for their members. All the members, not even people running, not even people with the intent to try to change this union, just the members who are actively giving their union dues, actively taking part in the process of being a supportive union member by wearing a shirt, by showing up to lobby days, by going to marches, by going to rallies, by being an active member. Those members, if they fall on hard times, the union provides zero assistance for them. Zero. Mm. Zero. When you needed childcare and they told you come to work, they told you sorry. The governor said you're not an emergency responder. You're an essential worker. You get a letter that says you can come through the Lincoln Tunnel if there's a fire, but we can't get you childcare. But please show up, because if you stay home, the IG is going to catch you at home, and God forbid you're mowing your lawn when you should be at work, or taking care of your children. If you call out sick to take care of your kids because you don't have anyone to watch them, considering that their schools have closed down and the rest of the world has shut down, but New York City Transit is forced to come to work, but we're going to opt you out from getting childcare. Oh, but there is some center in the middle of nowhere that you can drop your kid with some strangers and they'll watch your kid all day. Hopefully your kid turns out all right when you pick them up, but make sure you get and drop that bus, because the people who delivering for Bennigan's really need you.
Mm-hmm. And to be clear, when you running a businesses they lie about getting loans all the time. They know how to fudge the numbers. So we know that Local 100 did not keep it on the up and up to obtain that loan.
Of course not.
I mean, and like I said, they was counting on that this information probably wouldn't never come out, because a lot of people who filled out for PPP loans got blown up because they made a list and said, oh, this person took a PPP loan. This person. So Local 100 probably was like, oh, my God. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, they came out with a list, because since when do they come out with a list of people who take out loans? Right. And then we talking about a union leadership that don't know anything about the internet. Like they are clueless when it comes to the internet.
Well, that's because they're so busy promoting management. They use management as their internet source. They actually use MTA upper brass to be their voice piece. So they use them in ways that are very, very disgusting. They essentially create fake wars so that the MTA can basically say or do their bidding without them physically having to say it, and then they can prep the members. So that's what they do. They use the MTA, they use Sarah Feinberg or Pat Foy to come out and make a statement, and then that becomes buzzworthy to the media, and then they come around the depots or the train yards or the work location. They say, everybody, listen, something's coming down the pipe. Pat Foy was on the news today, and Sarah Feinberg was in the train station today saying they're going to cut jobs. We're going to fight that. Knowing damn well they've already sold out, knowing damn well that they took a $3 million loan to take bigger vacations and buy bigger houses and better cars, while the members can't get a stimulus, can't get a bailout, can't get hazard pay, can't get child care, get a 38 cents raise every year, while the rate of inflation has went up almost 100%. The prices of houses has almost tripled throughout the pandemic. You can't find a house. There's actually bidding wars right now for properties because nobody wants to either live in the city, work in the city, or can afford to, one or the other. All three of those we are subjugated to. All three of those we are relegated to. All three of those we have to wake up every day and do our damnedest to make the city run. As they explained, the city would shut down without you coming to work. But guess what? The city didn't respond in kind. Neither did our union. So who's to be held accountable? December 1st, the people who govern that. December 1st, the people who would be held accountable, the ones who actually had the control over our lives. We can't blame the government. We understand whenever there's an issue that's above the union, they're very quick to point out that was legislative. Oh no, we couldn't do nothing about Tier 6 because that was legislative. Or we couldn't do anything about Janice because that was Supreme Court. Or we're gonna rally together. But what about what you could do? What you could have did was told everyone who worked or was serviceable throughout the pandemic in 2020, the day that COVID ravaged our state, that any member that we represent who ends up owing dues because of any nature of illness will be absolved and always be considered in good standing, and we will apply a payment plan for you and allow you to rectify your union dues and be made whole, because that's what we control. The union cares about you, our brothers, our sisters, and we want to make sure that in the worst of times, the most minimal that we can do, we're going to do everything possible that's in our control. Did they do that? No, they didn't. You know why? Because they don't care, because they don't look at you as the same, because they don't care about union dues, because they don't care about the members, because they don't care about anyone else but their vacations, their trips to Vegas, and their families. Tony Utano told you when he went on the news who he cares about. He cared about his kids getting on the train and being unsafe. He didn't care about the workers. He told his kids to take a cab. He took out $500 of your union dues, threw it to his kids. Say, look, take the finest Uber you can. Just don't touch that public transportation system that my members have to work in. He
Facts.
can go to hell. That's what he can do.
Facts. And then now I got on the screen a picture. I put this on one of the last shows a couple of days ago of him standing with the MTA bosses, taking a picture with them during the parade. Like,
right.
What are they?
What's different? Sarah Feinberg rang the bell and they marched.
No.
Rang the bell and these guys marched.
No.
The pity.
Some of them rolled in the train with her.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, they taking, like, how can you stand next to people who told your people that they are not allowed to wear masks? Right. That you claim out of their own admission that they had to fight and Earl Phillips, they are bastards and all this other stuff.
Oh, you're talking about the Secretary of Treasurer.
Yeah, when he came to Stillwell and made that speech. But then a year later, you standing next to them like it was teamwork make the dream work. Yeah, they right. It was teamwork make the dream work. They both got together and say, listen, we're going to pay your members $500,000, which end up not being $500,000. We're going to pay them. We're going to work them until they die. That's basically what that whole thing was about. Working them until they die. If they survive, they survive. If they don't, they don't. But
actually, we were the case study for the state.
Yeah,
we were the case study.
Exactly.
We were the herd immunity. We were the again. You would have to point to me another agency who lost more people.
Not any in the United States. Not one.
There you go.
Not any one agency.
In the world.
Yeah, I'm willing to bet in the world.
No company lost more than 140 people in any company in the world because every company in the world said, maybe this is a bad idea. Mm-hmm. We can't have our members dying on the street. You know what our leadership did? Said, they're gonna die. Give them $500,000. Just take it off the top of the books.
That's it. That's it. Because they cannot explain their action the whole entire pandemic. You know what they did? They you know what they remind me of?
Right.
Coming out when the coast is clear, and then acting like they was there the whole time. Yo, we was out there fighting. I was beating people up too. No, you wasn't. I don't remember seeing you there. That's the act that they put on. They act like that they was there in the midst of this whole entire thing with us. They wasn't.
They're the rich guy on the Titanic who jumped ahead of everybody else and put the kid on his lap and sat on the boat. So when he got back to shore, he could tell everybody he survived the Titanic, but he's gonna leave out the part that there were another 100 people online who should have been on the boat first.
Yeah.
Right. That's the part they're gonna leave out. They're gonna leave out the part that they took out a PPP loan, which is a benefit to profit off the pain of a pandemic, when the people who actually suffered through the pandemic get nothing. Nothing. And they fought for nothing. They stood out there with signs in this last pity march and put up signs, we demand hazard pay. After what? After the mask mandate is gone, after everything is back to normal, You're demanding something. Well, what are you going to do if you don't get it? Because that's what a demand is. When I demand my kids go to bed, if they don't, there's consequences. So what are the consequences that you're going to implement in the event you don't get hazard pay? Because last time I checked in the Zoom with Senator Chuck Schumer, directly to Tano and Samuelson's face, they said, so, Senator, what about the hazard pay? He goes, hey, don't worry about that. It's not in this bill. We got to do some other things. Maybe somewhere down the line we'll talk about it. So what is the demand? Why didn't you demand it to his face? Well, you had the opportunity right there. It was the first Zoom meeting he had after being elected and taking over the Senate. That was the time to take the most powerful man in Congress to task. But no. You said we'll wait till the pity march that they knew was coming down the line. We'll wait for Cuomo to build a statue so we can dance around a piss and parade and tell everybody how great you are for other members dying. Glad we're still here. We were able to hide out. Let's go walk down the aisle, but not any of the people who actually died. And let's keep in mind, Progressive Action had a memorial for the members who died and gave plaques to the family members of those who died a year and a half before this pity march. Let's keep that in mind. So when the people say, oh, there were people with tears down the aisle of the family members, well, why didn't Local 100 support a memorial that was done in front of 2 Broadway?
Facts.
In front of 2 Broadway.
Facts.
Why didn't they support that if it's about the members? You didn't need because it offends Sarah Feinberg, because it pisses off Pat Foy, because it pisses off the governor. So who is your union representing? Who are they representing truly? It can never be the members, because anything that steps on the toes of the people who oppress us, they never stand against it. They always support it. Actually, they stand in train stations and hold up signs that say, go Cuomo. And then they wait till Cuomo puts on a sash and they mock with him and kiss him on the cheek and say, we love you so much, King Cuomo.
Facts. Yeah,
I'm sorry. This is not speculative. These are facts.
Facts.
These are identifiable facts. You don't have to Google it. Just go to Progressive Action and scroll down the timeline whenever you feel like it. I mean, what are you doing? What are we doing? What are you pretending? Pretending what? That they care? They don't care. They showed you they don't care. They've proven to you they don't care. And all of these people who don't care have less than 3 years left on this job. So they're not worried about nothing. They're only worried about one more election that they can give themselves another $200,000 and give it away to their pension fund. It has nothing to do with you. It has nothing to do with the members. Zero. They are not guaranteeing that in 10 years, this will be a better job than it was yesterday. I guarantee you it. I guarantee you that the only way to make this union better in 10 years from today than it is now is to guarantee that the people making the decisions for 10 years from now will still be here or still have some skin in the game in 10 years. How does someone with a year and a half left on the job care about what decision he makes for 10 years? He's not even thinking about being alive in 10 years. Okay? These guys are 60, 70 years old. You think they're really thinking about in 2035 what's going to happen at the transit authority? They don't care. They've already sold you out. They showed you that. They went to a board meeting, an MTA board meeting, and were pissed off about Christopher Columbus Day. But not at one point were they ever pissed off about 160 people dying. Earl Phillips with his voice cracking like an 8-year-old. We were so mad. We were damn pissed that they didn't give us masks. I was so angry, those bastards.
He said, I'm only Earl Phillips. This is only Tony Utano. We're not Jesus Christ.
Right.
Like he sounded like he wanted to cry.
What did Kung Fu Fighting call him? From the penny to the plenty?
From the penny to the plenty.
Yeah,
I ain't gonna lie. I
remember it.
I like that line. I like that line though.
When Samuelson inherited this union, last time I checked, we had a bigger war chest than we do today.
Facts. I mean, the union officers is making way more too, and they're about to make a whole bunch more with that fraudulent PPP loan.
Whoa, divvy up $2.8 million to 48 people.
Yeah. Listen, they listen.
380 people. There ain't 380 people who ever worked, who ever been released for Local 100 in the history of Local 100. You got how many offices do you have in each division? You're talking about none of those people were laid off, other than the private lines, and even them. You know how much staff is there? There are 200 members working. We got 3 people representing them.
Listen, they secure, like I told people earlier. They secured their hazard pay. This is their hazard pay. They don't care. They go, listen, to the people out there, you got to understand how easy it is to make a sign that they're not paying for, to go up to an event that benefits them because they love to stand around politicians so they could go back home to their family and say, hey, I got a picture with Eric Adams. I got a picture with Tish James. I got invited to this party. I'm in this in crowd, right? They go out there, look, let's just go out there, hold up these signs, make the members think that we're really fighting for this when we really not, so we could just win this election and do what we do. Like, their program is predictable. They wake up 6 months before the election and then want to start making noise. After they win the election, they don't want to be criticized. Oh, you know, the campaigning is over. Let us do our job. You never was doing your job. You know,
I'm going to ask anyone watching this, in the last 3 years, how many people from your work location have came back from an executive board title, from a division title, from an officer title, from a union soiree, and brought you pertinent details back from that meeting? Does anybody know what goes on at e-board meetings? Do you know? I mean, that's like public information. That's like all the delegating information that governs our local. That information should be the minute that an e-board meeting is over, there should be someone walking back to every location, work location, and decimating that information back to the members. In 3 years, have you seen anyone do that as a norm, as a regularity? In 3 years, other than you getting violations or DANs, when do you see your union reps? Are they at your relief points? Are they standing outside fighting with abusive TSSs or superintendents or dispatchers? Are they out there in the field where you are? Not back at the location. By then it's too late. By the time that write-up makes it back to your work location, it's too late. Now you're in the defense. The best defense is an offense. So how is it that for 10 years, 8 years, 6 years, 5 years, that we have been in the passive aggressive? In other words, take what you can get. Don't ask for too much because it might piss off the people you're asking. You ever heard the statement, a closed mouth don't get fed unless the mouth that's being closed is already fed?
That's a fact. I want to give a shout out to I see my brother Kevin Stone. He supports the platform a lot. I just want to give a shout out to him. Shout out to Kevin Stone, man.
Yo, I just want to thank you, Progressive Action, the team, just for doing the work. Just for never letting the lie live too long. The people watching this don't understand how valuable that is. Whether you agree or whether you disagree, at least you have something to agree or disagree with. You have to understand that you need information to make a choice. At least give me the information and let me make an informed decision. But when someone doesn't tell you something, there's a reason why. By omitting something or remitting something, you are doing it for a reason. If I don't tell you that it's hot over there, maybe it's because I want you to get burned. Let me tell you, around the corner, there's a fire. You can choose whether you want to turn that corner or not. Mm-hmm. But don't walk me through the fire and then tell me on the other side of the fire, oh, I didn't know you were walking through the fire. I would have bought you some water. Yeah. These guys are elitists. Think of yourself in a class. Think of yourself in a caste system. They look at you as the bottom of the ladder. They look at themselves as already up the ladder. They don't ever see themselves where you are ever again. So they're never concerned with ever having to walk the path you're walking ever again. They've already walked that path and feel as if they sold you down the river, and that whatever you get is good enough as long as you're not hungry.
Yeah. Yo, Kemp.
But to the spoils go the victor.
Yo, Kemp, your phone camera is crazy, bro.
Well, that's what we call the Illuminati block. So if they try to watch
your
me
phone,
from the back,
your phone crazy. Your phone, like the quality of that phone camera is amazing.
I appreciate that. You know, I have one of them good union jobs. You know, they pay guaranteed wages, but unfortunately, if you're out sick, there might be a discrepancy with your union dues. So hopefully, the next wave of leaders will create a system that will put the members first and always protect the needs and wants of the members well before the needs and wants of the officers, because leadership is painful. I would not lead you into war unless I was willing to carry the flag myself. The people who stood in their closet and did Zooms from their bunkers while we were out there driving buses with masks, without masks, we were the ones who quarantined the bus off. We were the ones who guaranteed the partitions. We are the ones who moved the yellow line back. It wasn't them. We, the members, did it. The serviceable members made a decision that we were going to suffer whatever consequences it took, but we were going to protect our brothers and sisters. We were the ones who created the line share to inform each other of who was positive and who was negative. We were the ones who created the tally of how many people were dying. We did that. Don't forget. There was no union that you can go on the union website and check to see how many people died, what depots were hot locations, which areas were the hot zones. There was nothing. Zero. No communication. They went silent. We were left to ourselves. That's like the people in Vietnam when the planes pulled out and the guys had to figure out their way back home. Half of them ended up staying in Vietnam. Right. Half of them ended up making babies and relocated because they were left.
Facts.
So we were left and we figured it out because we are great. But we're great because of us, not because of them. Great in spite of them. We are great because we were great when we got here. We're great because we are specialists, and we're great because we know our jobs. We're great because we're humans. We're great because we're citizens of the same communities we service. But we're not suckers either.
Especially at Progressive Action. You know we not suckers. We definitely ain't no suckers.
Whatever it's going to be. And people don't realize the consequences that we get for even fighting this fight. We are always under jeopardy of termination, of harassment, of investigations. Just go through the litany, financial strain, everything. But guess what? At the end of the day, you get one life, not two. And when you stand up for yourself, guess what? There's someone else who's willing to stand with you. And by the time you turn around, there's 1 million people standing beside you. And then the 12 who are lying to you, you know what they do? They quit. They quit. When you apply the pressure, suckers will always quit.
I agree.
These guys have already conceded the fact that they don't have no more fight. They just want to take as much money from the bank that they can before they quit.
It's a money grab for them. It's a money grab for them. I guarantee you, when they lose, you're going to see how many of them is going to retire. None of them is going to go back to their tools.
None of them.
They're going to retire, and that's going to show you where their heart really lied. They don't want to, think about this. They don't want to work under the conditions that they created. How crazy is that?
Think about that, right? You would think that you would make every bathroom the cleanest, you would make every bus the safest, just in case you had to go back and do that job.
I guarantee you, they're
never going back.
They will never go back to their tools because they know that the environment that they created and have us working in, it's unsafe. I mean, just look at what they did during the parade. They went on buses where they took out the windows.
Right.
Like, they took out the windows for themselves, but Kemp can't take out the windows on his bus.
Safety first.
Safety is essential. That's what I teach my son. Safety is essential. Safety is essential, right?
Yeah.
But they either.
I gotta jump up off here, bro. I got some people sitting around waiting on me, but I'm always available. Thank you for never sleeping, my brother, because when everybody else is asleep, you keep one of your eyes open.
You know, ever since I got assaulted, I can't sleep, right? So it becomes worse. Like, I can't sleep through the night, and it's crazy. So I got to take sleeping pills. It's all over the place, but I'm going to get it together.
Better.
I'm going to get it together.
And we out here. Progressive Action.
Yeah. All right, peace, bro.
Peace, my brother. Be safe.
All right. That was Brother Kemp. Brother Kemp. Let me see. Nobody else is on the Zoom. I got to go anyway. I got things to do today. Yeah, man. But if you just tuning in, we talked about the PPP loan. The union took out a PPP loan for $2.8 million. They claimed this for 398 employees. There's not 398 employees that work for the union. The LM2 say something different. The difference between the payroll from the 2020 LM2 and the 2021 LM2 is averaged out to be 73,000, but they asked for a PPP loan and got a PPP loan of 2.8 million. That 73,000 is not significant. It could have meant they hired one less person, somebody retired. It's only one salary, the 73,000, if you want to look at it like that. I'm happy Kemp got on because I did want another perspective. When I do these shows and I do these Zooms, I'm only going to be letting one person on at a time. It's not going to be one of these group Zooms where everybody get to talk. It's going to be one person at a time or whatever the case is. So in the future, if you're on a Zoom with me, you have to wait your turn. I definitely need you guys to support the platform. Look, I was trying my best to get this thing going the proper way. Now I got it working right where the Zoom is working correct. Everything is working correct for the time being. And I just want to make it more interactive. I want to put names to faces. That's why I'm doing it through Zoom and not doing it through the phone call system. I'm going to still use the phone call system here and there. But I want people to be seen. I believe this is not going to be used for clout chasing. If I notice that you're a clout chaser or a bandwagon person that's jumping from group to group to group, I'm using my discretion to who be allowed on the platform. But I put in a lot of work on to bring this to life. Just invested some more into it. You see the clarity is different. Got different mics. Computers working 1,000,000,000% better. I definitely need you guys support via Cash App. Definitely need you guys support via Cash App. The Cash App is on the screen right there. The Cash App is also pinned in the comments of this video. Please definitely utilize the Cash App. It's very important. Shout out to my brother William Davis. I see you. Keep up the good work out there. I rarely pay attention to the chat, so if you trying to get my attention via chat, I'm looking sporadically, not all the time. But definitely, I need you guys to support the platform. Please support the platform. Please support the platform via Cash App. Cash App is Progressive Action 100, or you could do it via PayPal. The PayPal is Progressive Action, or Patreon. It's in the link of this video. I'll catch you guys later. Peace.